Hello everybody, welcome to Planet Sky FF, the world where everything revolves around Sky Fantasy Football and £50,000. My name's Serge.
And my name is James.
James, are you any closer to the 50 Gs?
I'm closer, yeah, but it's not coming this year, I'm afraid.
What's your overall rank now?
I've had a decent return. It's kind of roughly what I'd have hoped to be. I'm up to 717th.
Nice. I'm still around the 20k mark, but I'll be honest with you, I've missed a couple of deadlines, so there we go. I think
the guys are used to this, mate.
Yeah, I know. I'll be honest with you. I am not enjoying the way the football is right now with all the deadlines and everything. And if you chuck in Champ Man into the mix as well, like, I have no idea what happened on Saturday in the matches. I don't know what injuries there are. I don't know what players are going on with that. And now you've got 5 o'clock deadlines, 7 o'clock deadlines. With 3 games going on all at the same time, all with different rules and stuff. Sky is not getting my FPL team right is still my top priority yesterday. So I was going to buy Harry Kane for Sergio Aguero yesterday and captain him. I left the office at 4:30 thinking I'll do my FPL team before the 5 o'clock and I'll do my Sky team when I get home before the 6 o'clock. Forgot about the Sky team, didn't I? So I didn't get Harry Kane's captain points, but I was never going to win the 50 Gs anyway. So you are holding the fort when it comes to winning the money, but I will be holding the fort when it comes to the comedy.
Well, to flip this on its head, I'm really enjoying what's happening with Sky at the moment. And I think to kind of summarise to start with, a lot of people have been saying, obviously, transfers in hand are a massive gain. And of course, having the transfers to fix your team is a massive advantage. However, I do feel that the gains of those transfers are much, much harder to find. Whereas ordinarily we'd be having this period with blanks, doubles, etc. That's all kind of gone from this. Everybody's playing in the same order, etc. So to find gains is much harder. And quite often in this case, to find real gains, you need to come off a player and go back to a player. Now, most people are just not in the position to be able to do that. Where I'm happy with, I've obviously got myself in a nice position now where I'm well inside the top 1,000 and I'll probably finish there. But I have made 6 transfers over the last game week. So I really, really should have been having the rise. And actually, I would have kind of hoped to have been hitting around 500, actually. But I think everybody's kind of on a similar template. And the real differential between now and the finish is generally going to be whether you hit them captains or not. Mm-hmm. Because so many people are now in a position where they're generally sticking with what they've got. From that perspective, I've had quite a good week, bar one calamity on Monday night, which was the Manchester City team and me deciding, because the plan was always to get Nick Pope and take advantage off Dean Henderson to Nick Pope. And then with no City cover, I went, you know what, I'll captain him. Who knows, there might be a pen save or something. I didn't quite factor in how bad it can be for goalkeepers in Sky in comparison to FPL. The fact that he's finished on a -2, which captained is obviously -4. But otherwise...
That was the one transfer I missed making, so I'll happily take that.
Otherwise, I hit captains across the board. I had KDB against Arsenal. I had Fernandes Friday night, Jimenez Saturday, VVD Sunday, and I had Siyuncu yesterday. So otherwise, I've been hitting the captains across the board. So score-wise, quite good.
Yeah, I have no idea where I'm looking back now. So I made 2 transfers. I got rid of, this is the irony, I got rid of Riyad Mahrez for Kevin De Bruyne before the Arsenal game, thinking that Kevin De Bruyne's my safe captaincy option. We didn't know what was happening with Aguero, in or out, shake it all about. So I thought, just let me go the safe option with Kevin De Bruyne, which was good for the first game, but it wasn't necessarily good for the second game. And my compromise to get Kevin De Bruyne in for Riyad Mahrez was to get rid of Otamendi and bring in Dan Burn, who then helped me yesterday with a nice 8-pointer. So some of my players have done okay. Bruno Fernandes had a good return against your lot. Van Dijk picked up a 10-pointer, which was particularly good the other day. But it's a mix mash. My whole structure is a mix mash. So I've still got 14 transfers, mine. So I can have a little bit of fun here. Captain today is definitely going to be Bruno Fernandes. I think so many people are going to have Bruno Fernandes as captain.
Agreed. Yeah. Tonight, just while we're on it briefly, and we can go through captains afterwards for the rest of the week. Tonight's tough, right? With Fernandes, Jimenez, the Liverpool guys, Richarlison. There's real options. I wouldn't mind any of them as options. Kind of wish they'd been on different days, actually. But I think with Sheffield United's situation, for me, Fernandes is the standout. I know Van Dijk is almost definitely going to get me a 10-pointer and get me a 20-point return. And Fernandes has worse return and higher return, if you like. But Fernandes has got more chance of being a 15 or so and make it 30 points. And I've got to take the gamble, I think, and go with the higher ceiling. For those nearer the top, it might be a different scenario where you think, I just want to go with Van Dijk, lock in those more secure 20 points. So obviously, if Fernandes fails, you're absolutely winning, aren't you? So it's a tough call tonight. And I like Richarlison as an alternative shout against that Everton team. If you want to go down that route, I don't hate that.
The one that might tempt me to go away from Bruno Fernandes is only Jimenez really at the moment against Bournemouth. I'm not convinced. I know Sheffield United have defensive issues in terms of injuries, but I really feel like Chris Wilder's going to be in their ears. Like, you do not concede tonight. He's going to set them up to go back to what they're good at, and they will have had a bollocking in training and what have you. That I think they're going to be so defensive minded and really set up to frustrate United. I don't think it's going to be as easy a game as people are saying. Look, Sheffield United got a few injuries. United are going to run riot. Sheffield United are good enough to set themselves up and organised enough to still make it hard for Manchester United.
I think I disagree with that. I think if O'Connell's not playing, I worry for them tonight. I think United could batter them if O'Connell's not playing. There's no Henderson in goal as well either.
That is an even bigger issue actually. No Henderson in goal for them.
So I think it's a rare case where possibly ordinarily wouldn't want to go for United asset tonight. I just think an opportunity has arisen and I want to take advantage on it. Just while we're on that as well, Sheffield United assets, a lot of people might have 2-3, for example. I mean, it's time to think about moving away, just generally speaking anyway. When you look at the fixtures that are to come, so even beyond United tonight, looking at sort of Tottenham, Chelsea still to come. Yeah, there's a nice Burnley fixture in there. Still got to play Leicester as well. I think it's probably time to come off. I don't regret going for Pope Monday night. As much as in hindsight, it might look like a mistake. I wanted to take those gains. Pope has another 2 fixtures, which will include a captaincy for me on Monday night before Henderson would play again. And if I hate it, I can always go back or make a different move.
Yep.
So I'm still pleased I made that move. I mean, if he saves the Mahrez penalty, he hits me on a plus, right? So I feel like it was almost worth the gamble. You know, keepers can hit the save point tiers against the likes of City and Liverpool for sure. So, all right, didn't work out. But I think on Sheffield United defenders, I'd begin to be thinking a way, including from Henderson, actually. If you can find the right one, you might decide to even Pope now with the 2 games Burnley have got again before Sheffield United play again and that. Foster's another one alternative. You can step up to Ederson, might even be an idea, but then I think you should have done that on Monday, for example, if that was part of your thinking. Baldock, okay, because it's really cheap value. I don't think he's going to get you nothing.
No.
Not a lot at all for the remainder of this season.
Should we talk about captaincy picks between now and the end of, let's say, next week?
Yeah, we'll go up to sort of next Tuesday, Wednesday. So
yeah, the 2nd is the Thursday, and then there's no games after that. So
tomorrow I haven't decided yet. So Aubameyang and KDB, my options. So part of the plan was always Aubameyang, really, but I suspect De Bruyne will play, having not started on Monday night, and I suspect the fact that you won't have the Man City team will be enough to put people off, and they'll fall into line of something else like Aubameyang. And therefore, I really like the idea of going for De Bruyne tomorrow night.
Yeah, De Bruyne's not a bad shout. I'll probably be moving from Aguero to Jesus as a striker, and I'll probably captain him or KDB will be my captain tomorrow.
Saturday, I think I'll fall into Jimenez. It's only the one game, isn't it? Villa Wolves seems quite straightforward. It's certainly the the best choice.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Grealish, Traore, Doherty might be others that might cover you off, but I think Jimenez against Villa
easy.
would be the best choice.
Yeah.
Sunday, what you got?
No one at the moment, because I'm going to be selling Troy Deeney for Jimenez today.
But that's interesting. So any plan to get anything back?
No. The only one that I'm interested in maybe is Danny Ings, but then after that he's got a 6-day gap, and then into City, and then a 3-day gap, and then into Everton, and then a 3-day gap in United. So I don't really fancy a bit of Danny Ings. So I'll probably skip that one, if I'm honest with you.
I would keep Deeney, mate.
What, for Deeney captaincy against Southampton with a fixture against Burnley versus Jimenez at Bournemouth and Villa? Not
Have you got any other Villa Wolves coverage?
I do not.
So you still need that captaincy for Saturday as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would look for an alternative there, Such.
To find the captain.
Well, no, to get Jimenez in. Who's your other forward?
Aguero at the moment.
See, what I would do with that, honestly, I would go Aguero to Jimenez. Genuinely, you've given yourself an extra 2 captaincies by then holding on to Deeney as well, and then you come straight off them. You can go Deeney to Jesus when they play Liverpool or after. So if you hold on, so Watford play obviously on the Saturday. In terms of gains, right, you could hold Deeney as well.
Watford play on the Sunday.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You could hold Deeney for, it's not ideal, but you could hold Chelsea for the following fixture and then dive straight into Jesus, for example, when City play Southampton the next day. Or obviously you can dive into Jesus when they play Liverpool. That's the move I'd make, mate, is Aguero to Jimenez. You've got the transfers.
Yeah.
Why cut the corners? You've got a set of transfers no one's got left. Don't cut the corners. All right, you don't want Deeney in your squad. We don't really know what he's been doing there. But as you've got him, keep him for the Southampton fixture and captain him. Unless you decide there's someone else you really want, be it Ismaila Sarr or Danny Ings, who I think are probably the 2 best choices. I have Sarr, and I'm likely holding Sarr for quite a while, which I'll come on to in a bit. But Ismaila Sarr for me. There's a lot I think will move from Jimenez to Ings, Sarr on the Sunday, I think.
On the Monday is just Burnley Palace.
Nick Pope for me.
Yeah, covers you off there. I'll probably make the move that I should have made on Monday, which is Dean Henderson to Nick Pope before Burnley's next game.
Yeah, make it on Thursday. Make it tomorrow, mate.
Exactly. We then have a single game day again, which is Brighton against Manchester United. Surely Bruno Fernandes for that one for everybody.
Bruno or whatever your alternative is, but certainly it would be Fernandes for me.
Yeah. Followed by the Wednesday, the 1st, where there's a few games. You've got Leicester have got Everton away, Chelsea, West Ham, Aubameyang if you've got him against Norwich.
Well, the one benefit of this and holding on is that you'll know the Arsenal team. We think at the moment that Aubameyang won't start against Norwich. I say we. That's my opinion. I think it's just absolutely right for him to be rested in that game. But at least you'll know. So it would be Aubameyang if he starts. If he doesn't, I'll have the fullback of Siyunchu probably against Everton. There's a chance that I might have Mason Mount at that point as well against yourselves.
And then the last, before the next kind of break in fixtures, is the day that City play Liverpool and you guys are away at Sheffield United. You'll just stick it blindly on
Harry Kane.
You're going to buy Harry Kane then?
That's the plan.
Yeah. And then Tottenham have a decent run. You've got Everton, Bournemouth, and then you've got your derby against Arsenal.
Well, part of the thinking with Kane is, and it kind of reverts back to a little bit with the fixtures and find it very difficult to get gains. If I get Kane for that Sheffield United fixture, I will probably captain him for that period of the 4th Tottenham fixtures in quick succession. Everton on the Monday after, Bournemouth on the Thursday after, and then Arsenal on the Sunday. I'll probably captain him in all 4. He's not going to return in all 4, but I tell you what, he's going to be a differential as well, because most people are not going to be looking into that move, I don't think. I think most will go Son as well. Don't think Son will start all 4 of those games, because of the close proximity of them. That's worth saying. The one benefit you will have is in the first three of those Tottenham fixtures, Sheffield United, Everton and Bournemouth, you will know the team. So that will be helpful for you as well. But Kane at 12 million is too expensive. I saw little signs last night that make me think in terms of the amount of efforts he was having on goal, much better. Put it this way, you ain't going to play them 4 games and blank in all of them. And essentially, he's going to be my differential for a little period, and I'm going to go for it. Would I advise anybody else to do so? No, particularly if you're there on sort of 3-4 transfers. No, I wouldn't. But
if you've got a few to play with,
it's the differential move that I'm going to make that's going to give me 4 different captaincies to most other people.
It'd be interesting if they all hit all 4 of those captaincies and others fail. Then you could really make a rise up into the top 200-300. Fingers crossed.
That's the plan, Serge. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't, right? It's first season playing around, and you'll take some learnings from it.
Oh yeah, got to have a go. What's the point? I mean, look, if he scores 12 goals in those 4 games, then I might win it.
There we go. You were talking about Sarr, so let's have a quick chat about what you were saying about Ismail Sarr, and then we can get into a few of the questions that our friends have left us on Twitter.
Well, the reason I like, because obviously Watford play Southampton on Sunday. I think to summarise, Burnley Palace, you could probably skip. But again, I think Sheffield United moves to Burnley, even if it's short term, are not too bad at all. I much prefer, I know people can say, oh, they got battered Monday night. I'm really not bothered by what teams do or don't do against Manchester City. It can happen to anybody. And I much prefer Burnley's fixtures to Sheffield United's for the remainder of the season. The problem is in the defensive area, the Sheffield United guys are much better priced. In the goalkeeper position, Pope and Henderson are effectively the same price, 0.1 difference. So I would prefer, personally, the Monday night, the Burnley coverage rather than the Palace coverage, because Palace have an awful run of fixtures otherwise. And which one do you want? The defenders are too much. Which one do you want? You really want to gamble on PVA that he's going to get you 1 or 2 goals between the end of the season? I can't see many clean sheets in those fixtures. On Watford Southampton, I far prefer the route for those who are looking to target it to go for Watford rather than Southampton. And the reason for that is fixtures that come afterwards. So admittedly, there's then a 6-day break where they play Chelsea. But I quite like Tuesday the 7th. Is a little bit awkward in the sense that Arsenal play Leicester, Chelsea play Palace. The other fixture is Norwich-Watford. Mm-hmm. I think I might captain him again, mate. Mm. And then there's another one as well where they play Newcastle.
Yeah,
that's on a Saturday, so there's decent coverage. But further ahead, Tuesday the 14th, which essentially is when game week 36 will start. Now, we don't know the fixtures yet, but there are only 2 fixtures that can go on the Tuesday. Watford and West Ham is one of them. Chelsea and Norwich is the other one. They're the only 2 fixtures from game week 36 that can be brought forward to the Tuesday. So you might want to captain in that again against West Ham. Then suddenly, I'm getting 3 captaincies out of 5-6 games for a really cheap value player who's capable. So I really like the Ismail Sarr idea over Danny Ings. I don't see too many other where you'd go Danny Ings as a captain choice. Obviously, yeah, Danny Ings is more explosive than Ismail Sarr, but Sarr's value allows you other things as well. So I really like that route. And yeah, that Tuesday in game week 36, it can only be those 2 games because in all the other 8 matchups, at least one of those teams plays on the Sunday before. So they're not going to play earlier than the Wednesday. So it means the Tuesday's likely to be West Ham, Watford, Chelsea v Norwich. Now, obviously, Chelsea there's the best options, isn't it? But where do you fucking go with Chelsea to get the right asset? Do you want to pay extra to get the reliability of, say, a Rudiger when they don't keep many clean sheets anyway?
Not worth
it. Abraham, a lot would have been looking at, but is Giroud now playing or not playing? I think you fall back onto Mason Mount, and that's why Park mentioned earlier that I may well be targeting to have him back in for that West Ham fixture next week on the Wednesday.
But that leads us on to our Twitter questions quite nicely, James. It's as if it's as if you would have read them. And
I probably did, but I did have a few beers last night.
Is Reece James, this is from Rob Pick, is Reece James a hold or someone that we should look to move on? Do we have any game days where Chelsea are going to be needed for captaincy? And this is why you're potentially looking at Mason now.
I think James is a hold if you've got. I also think he's a not buy at the moment either.
Rob owns him right now because he's considering moving him to a Manchester United defender to join Fernandes. He's got some money in the bank.
I'd keep at the moment, I think. But yeah, if you can get up to Wan-Bissaka or Maguire off James, I'm not going to put you off with the fixtures United have got. Wan-Bissaka may well be coming in for myself as well, although probably more likely next Tuesday than tonight. The thing is, you really want some coverage because, again, going back to like lack of gains in terms of where do you find the gains where I can get on particular fixtures, you're part looking at it more from an FPL perspective in an odd sort of way in terms of looking at teams and targeting certain fixtures. So Chelsea's run that begins with that West Ham game of West Ham, Watford, Palace, Sheffield United, Norwich feels like something I really want to take advantage of. But where are the captaincies amongst that? There probably isn't until that Norwich game. And then you want to hope that it's the earlier kickoff as well. Otherwise, you're still potentially up the creek with that. The Palace one's interesting, Tuesday the 7th, as I mentioned, because I'd look at Sarr there possibly when Chelsea play. They play Crystal Palace? Play Crystal Palace, yeah. The other ones, I don't really see the way in where you'd captain them. I mean, if Aubameyang plays against Norwich next week and you've got him, you're definitely going that over a Chelsea asset against West Ham.
Yeah. You
won't have the benefit of the Chelsea team either. And in none of the games coming up, you have the benefit of the Chelsea team when the deadline hits. So you know the gamble. I think Mount is probably, as much as he's frustrated Sky players, he's probably the best choice. Just at the value, 7.3, there's not a lot to lose. But there isn't a lot of captaincy there for Chelsea in spite of the fixtures. It's a balancing act. I think it's okay to go without, generally.
Aaron Lager says, if you had to pick 3 forwards to stick with from now until the end of the season, who would you pick? 3 forwards. I think Jimenez is clearly one.
I'm probably going to move. My plan at the moment is I'm going to move Jimenez on after the Arsenal game and move him. That's on Saturday the 4th.
The challenge with Aaron's question is we don't know the single game days, right? So if you knew that there were more single game days for Jimenez in the pipeline, you're more likely to want to maybe stick him on.
Well, they won't. I would say in game week 37, Wolves v Palace as a single game day is a possibility. But so too is, I think it's Brighton against Newcastle. That's also a possibility. And Bournemouth, Southampton. Those would be the 3 games that I'd highlight left, which are most likely to be on a single game day. That said, anybody, for the teams that reach the FA Cup semi-final, their game week 37 fixtures are going to be moved to the midweek. Now, I would then say it's a 50% chance that those teams will have a single game week as well. So I think game week 37, you might have more single game days than what we've got currently at the moment, because we've got Watford, Southampton, Palace, Burnley, Tottenham, Everton, Man United, Southampton. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, most of us are going to have United coverage, certainly. I think in terms of targeting Tottenham, that's an idea, whether it's Kane, Son, Aurea, Everton, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. You're going to want some coverage for that Monday night. The other 2 you can take or leave, and as I've said, I'd prefer to go for Watford personally on the Sunday. But that's the only one is game week 37 where Jimenez is likely to land on a single game day. And I'm looking to come off. My thoughts at the moment is keep him for the Arsenal game, because then that's the best route to Jesus is the following day when City play Southampton.
We've got a question coming in from Luke, D1 Sable, FF Scout _ Luke. Is Armstrong, he's talking about Stuart Armstrong here, worth a look? He's a differential midfielder, decent tier points and a threat. So if you don't want to give up one of your slots on Danny Ings, he's suggesting that maybe Armstrong's a potential consideration.
Yeah, like him. Don't hate that as well. And as I said, they're another one where game week 37 could end up being a single game week fixture for them if you're really tight on the on the fixtures. The problem for them, I think, is following that Watford fixture in terms of actual fixtures, it's Manchester City, Everton and Manchester United in the immediate. I'm not sure I want any of that, personally. Again, another reason why I prefer the route of Watford. But Luke's not wrong. Armstrong, he's a great shout. When he returns, we said this in FPL as well, when he returns, he tends to hit double points, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good alternative. He's one you can leave in there, naturally. I think he's generally locked on the right-hand side of midfield now for Southampton. So, yeah, I don't mind that as a shout.
Benny Blanco, Salah and Mane, can we go the rest of the season with just avoiding these two? If you have a Trent or a VVD as a captaincy option, I think I agree with that as well.
There's a more interesting point on Liverpool as well, actually looking deeper at it. So I've planned my moves and my transfers essentially for the rest of the season based on what I think will happen with the fixtures in 36, 37. Now, I've accounted for that a little bit with a potential injury, etc., leaving a transfer or two behind, almost to not be used. But I've listed my potential favourite captain for each of the game days. And with me currently having VVD and TAA and no Salah Mane, I actually, as it would stand, I probably wouldn't captain Van Dijk at all. And that's in spite of Liverpool having some great fixtures like Villa and Brighton and Burnley. I think there are better alternatives. So when they play Villa at the moment, I've got Jesus listed, particularly if he didn't play against Liverpool on the Thursday before. When they play Brighton, I've got De Bruyne against Newcastle with the benefit of the team news. And when they play Burnley again, I'd probably favour a City attacking asset against Brighton personally, and what I've seen so far from Manchester City. So there's a possibility of going without. If you're really struggling for captaincies as well, Liverpool and City play on the same day for the next 4 game weeks, following these midweek fixtures. This is the last time they don't play together. So the City-Liverpool game and then the 3 fixtures afterwards, they play on the same day. So there is certainly scope to say, can I go without? Personally, I think the consistency of VVD and Trent mean that I want to keep them there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've only got the one in VVD, but he's not going anywhere.
If I did have Salah or Mane versus City in those fixtures, I think you probably still would go back to them and want to captain them if they're sitting in your team. And not saying you should get rid of them. I think if you've got them, just leave them there and forget about it personally.
How many transfers are you happy with between now and the end of the season? What's a healthy number, says Benny?
What's a healthy number?
7 or 8?
Less.
6?
At this stage, yeah.
6.
At this stage. I mean, the transfers pre-restart, I think the average in the top 1,000 was 5 or 6. So, I mean, and that people are going to add into that to just fix things naturally. Think of like Ricardo Pereira's ownership, right? Everyone sold him. That's another one gone. So I would suspect, and I don't know this, but I would suspect average transfers left in the top 1,000 now would be about 4.
FPL Fido says, when will the guy in the picture finally get his face uploaded? I'm tired of seeing him as a silhouette. You're talking about Bruno Fernandes just not getting a picture in the game. And
it's really annoying.
It is annoying, isn't it?
I don't
know why. Why is it so annoying?
It really shouldn't bother me as much as it does, but it really, really does bother me, yeah.
Come
on, take a picture and upload him.
It's just not that hard, is it?
I mean, if only Sky had rights to say Premier League football or something and they could use an image of him, I don't know.
Rob, FPL Advice on YouTube says, do you want a second, if you want a second United asset to go alongside Bruno Fernandes, would you prefer Rashford or Pogba? And I'd probably say I'd go Wan-Bissaka or Maguire maybe instead of...
Agreed, yeah. Wan-Bissaka or Maguire, agree, yeah.
I don't see that. And talking about big at the back, Leon H94 says, any temptation to go big at the back could be an avenue to exploit clean sheets and passing bonuses. You rightly point out high temperatures and lack of fitness. Many will drop off and sit behind the ball.
Yeah, I've looked at ways of going like 5-4-1, for example. I don't know if you can do that, or 4-5-1. I've looked at it. The midfielders are back on the radar, really, a little bit, aren't they? De Bruyne, Richarlison, Fernandes, Mahrez, I mean, that's some power you could have there if you only go with one up front, for example.
Yeah.
And the passing tiers of people, like even, I think Rudiger hit passing tier against Villa at the weekends. They don't tend to hit them, particularly Chelsea.
No.
These City Liverpool guys defensively are going to hit some silly passing numbers. I mean, Van Dijk tonight starts on 5.
Yeah.
He's not going to score less than that unless Palace score a few goals. So that's where he's starting. So you know almost straight away, captain him, that's the 10 points. And I think it's the security of people will lean back into that tonight, possibly, rather than go for Bruno Fernandes. The captaincy, to see which way people go, would be really interesting tonight. What was the other question, Suj?
On
United, just to cover it,
I'd
go Rashford over Pogba, by the way.
Yeah, I would as well, but I think I'd go defensive first.
Agreed.
Ed wants to know whether or not it's worth keeping Aubameyang. I know he's a good captaincy option, but with Arsenal playing badly, he could shift him to get Spurs coverage. I don't know if I think that's the solution to getting rid of Aubameyang is go to a Spurs player right now, but I think anyone that leaves Aubameyang, whether it's in Sky or FPL, is going to get hurt at some point because he is going to score goals between now and the end of the season.
But that's the plan. That was part why for me it wasn't about going for Kane or Son last night. I wanted to see them both play again. And to think that, Aubameyang has got Southampton and Norwich to play before Spurs again. So I think this time next week we'll be in a better position to analyse that when we record again next Wednesday. But my current plan, yes, would be Aubameyang to Kane next Thursday on the 2nd.
We have Janish Barrett asking a question. The best midfielder in the 5.5 to 6.5 million bracket.
Oh, it's bloody awful.
Yeah, there's not a lot down there, is there?
I'll tell you one I do like, Suj, if you've got it in front of you. Have a look at Saka's price at Arsenal.
5.1 he is.
There you go.
5.1 or 5.2? I'm going to pull it up right now.
He's cheap as, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, he's 5.2, sorry, there you go. He's 49 points for the season so far. There or thereabouts.
Well, he's only played this year, really, Suj. So, and you treat him like you treat Dan Burn, right? He's just going to sit there. So if you wanted to go something like 5-3-2 and you want a real powerful defence, having Saka go with KDB and Fernandes, for example, like suddenly you can start making this work. So I'd actually say Saka.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Ismaila Sarr 6.5. Was that inside the cutoff?
That is inside the cutoff. It's bang on the edge, but it's inside the cutoff.
Ismaila Sarr then.
Sterling, worth it for you or too much rotation risk?
No, not worth it.
Especially because you're not going to captain him, are you?
I mean, I'm only looking to take advantage of Jesus like other people will because of the Aguero injury. Yes, Sterling is sometimes going to play as a false 9. I think David Silva could play there. I think you might even see him try and play Foden there. So I don't think Jesus is going to play all the games. If anybody's thinking that, you're in for a shock. But he's going to play the majority, isn't he? Therefore, it's worth the gamble. Sterling hasn't shown me enough. Goals against Arsenal don't count as being in form. Let's see what he does against Chelsea tomorrow night.
If you had to pick one out of Harry Kane or Marcus Rashford, which would you go with? It's a lot of money difference between the two of them. So...
Kane, because I can't see at the moment where I would captain Rashford before I captain Bruno Fernandes.
And then the last question is coming in from Aaron Alton. Do you have any idea, on average, transfers remaining?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that. I think he's probably going to be about 4 in the top 1,000 based on what I saw pre-restart. Just to cover that previous question, if you haven't got Bruno Fernandes, then yes, I prefer Rashford to Kane, to be clear.
Oh dear. We have done all of the Twitter questions there, James.
Nice. Just one final thing I want to go through before we wrap up. And it's just talking about gains. And I want to give you an example. And this is where it becomes dodgy when you've only got, say, 3 or 4 transfers left. So if you take Manchester United, obviously play tonight, play Brighton on the Tuesday, and then play Bournemouth on Saturday, the 4th of July. Now, then there's a gap between playing again Monday the 13th with Southampton, where there's a lot of teams you can get 2 fixtures out of in between. The problem with that is the game you'd miss for United is Aston Villa, where, I mean, do you want to sell Fernandes and get an extra 3 fixtures of City? The point is, let's say you've got Bruno Fernandes and you haven't got Kevin De Bruyne and it's affordable for you. You can get Fernandes against Bournemouth, then you've got De Bruyne against Southampton, Newcastle and Brighton, and then go back to Fernandes when United played Southampton on the Monday. But you would miss the United Villa game. It's that period there where there are some gains potentially. What might be a better thing to do in that sort of scenario is if you've got Wan-Bissaka, for example, you might want to look at a hop on, hop off. The problem is because people are so limited in transfers, I think it's more a hop off. But for those looking to manoeuvre, that period there around about Saturday the 4th, Sunday the 5th, where fixtures swing again for City and Liverpool on the Sunday, looks like a really good time. And I think a lot of people will also move like from Jimenez to Kane that week, go say for Spurs, Everton, or go Heung-min Son. So that period there around 4th, 6th is a good period to be holding on to the little bits you've got left, or potential gains if you're more around sort of 7, 8, or if you're like Suj on 38 transfers or whatever you've got left.
There we go. If you are still playing Sky, thank you for tuning in and listening. I was just looking in our Planet FPL league, James. You're 40th and you're 700 overall, which means 39 people in our league are inside the top 700 or so, which means we make up 5% of the top 700 there are in the Planet FPL league.
So it'd be a lot more than 5% this time next year.
Yeah, no doubt. I forgot what I was going to say. What have we got left coming up this week, James? I'm just thinking we've really been recording for so long, this one. What have we got coming up?
For the Chapman FPL players, streams tonight, streams Saturday afternoon. Thursday, I will be doing my Ask James stream. Friday, you and I back with full podcast reviewing all of the Game Week 31 fixtures for FPL. Saturday morning as well, I'm going to stream on YouTube at 10:30 in the morning in the final hour leading up to the deadline. Patrons have podcasts coming today, tomorrow and Friday as well.
Perfecto, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe. Ciao for now.
Good luck, everybody. Cue music, man child.